They say the hardest part of hitting rock bottom isn't the fall, but the terrifying silence that follows. In that silence, I found a single coin that changed my definition of wealth forever. 20 years ago, my world was measured in skyscrapers. My name is Elias, and on Wall Street, I was a man who moved mountains of paper gold. I lived in a penthouse that touched the clouds, drove cars that roared like lions, and wore suits that cost more than a teacher's yearly salary. I thought I had mastered the art of living. In reality, I was just a well-dressed slave to a machine that didn't know my name. I was so busy looking at the view from the top that I never noticed the ground was moving beneath me. My father, a humble carpenter from the rugged plains of Montana, used to call me every Sunday. His voice was like a slow river, steady and deep. "Elias," he would say, "are you building a legacy or just a bigger cage?" I would laugh, adjust my gold cufflinks, and tell him he didn't understand the modern world. I thought his wisdom was as outdated as his hand-crank tools. Little did I know, the modern world was about to set itself on fire, and his outdated tools would be my only lifeline. Then came 2008, the year the music stopped. I had played a dangerous game, betting everything I owned on high-risk derivatives. I was arrogant. I believed the market was a servant I had tamed. But greed is a predator that eventually eats its master. In 72 hours, my net worth went from 8 figures to a negative balance. One day, I was a king. The next, I was a ghost haunting the streets of Manhattan. The repossession agents took the cars. The bank took the penthouse. My friends, those who toasted my success with expensive scotch, stopped answering my calls before the ink on the bankruptcy papers was dry. I stood in the middle of Times Square, surrounded by millions of people, yet I felt like the only person left on earth. I had tied my entire identity to a bank balance, and when the balance hit zero, Elias ceased to exist. I realized then that if you are nothing without your money, you are never actually anything to begin with. I boarded a bus back to Montana with nothing but a duffel bag and a heart full of shame. The neon lights of New York faded in the rearview mirror, replaced by the vast, unforgiving darkness of the American heartland. I wasn't just going home, I was retreating to the only place that would take a broken man. When I arrived, the air was cold and smelled of pine and damp earth. My father was waiting on the porch, his body withered by age and sickness, but his gaze as sharp as a chisel. He didn't ask about the millions I lost. He didn't ask about the penthouse. He simply pointed to the old garage and said, "The tools are still where you left them, Elias. Go find yourself." That night, I realized that while New York taught me how to spend, Montana was about to teach me how to live. The next morning, I entered the garage. It was a cathedral of dust and forgotten things. In the corner sat my father's workbench. Hidden under a layer of grime, I found a single silver dollar. It was minted in 1921, the year my grandfather was born. My father walked in, leaning heavily on his cane. "Elias," he whispered, "people think money is a liquid. They think it flows. But real wealth is like wood. It has a grain. It has a soul. If you work against the grain, the wood will splinter and break you. If you work with it, you create something that outlasts time." I spent the next 6 months in that garage. I stopped checking the news. I stopped looking at stock tickers. I learned to sand wood until my hands bled. I learned that minimalism isn't about owning nothing. It's about making sure the things you own don't own you. I lived on $50 a week. I ate simple meals. And for the first time in my life, the crushing weight in my chest began to lift. I was becoming a millionaire of the spirit, even as my bank account stayed near zero. One evening, while cleaning an old oak table, I realized my father's greatest financial secret. He had never made more than $40,000 a year in his life. Yet, he owned his land, he owned his house, and he had a peace of mind that I couldn't buy with 10 million. His money hack was simple but devastatingly effective for the modern world. Never let your lifestyle outrun your peace. He taught me that the biggest cost in America isn't taxes or rent. It is the cost of trying to look successful. He called it shadow debt, the psychological tax we pay when we buy things to impress people we don't even like. I took that silver dollar and started a small craft business. I didn't take a loan. I didn't look for investors. I built one chair at a time. I used the snowball method, not for debt, but for growth. Every dollar I made was reinvested into a better tool, a better piece of wood. I learned the psychology of wealth. True financial freedom is the distance between your ego and your income. By the time my business reached 6 figures, I didn't even feel the need to buy a new car. The old truck worked just fine, My father passed away on a Tuesday. The house was quiet, the Montana wind howling outside. He left me the garage, the land, and a letter. Inside the letter was that same silver dollar. The letter read, "Elias, wealth is not what you leave behind for people. It is what you leave within them. This coin is just metal, but the man you became to earn it back is the real treasure." I realized then that my collapse in New York wasn't a tragedy. It was a rescue mission. I had been saved from a life of hollow success. I had built a legacy that wasn't made of paper gold, but of sweat, wood, and honesty. Today, when I look in the mirror, I don't see a failed banker. I see a successful man. The world will tell you that you are your job title. It will tell you that you are your net worth. It is lying to you. The midnight compass is the quiet voice in your heart that tells you when you are off track. If you are struggling right now, if you are staring at a bank balance that scares you, remember, a silver dollar in the dust is still silver. You are still you. What is the one thing in your life you are refusing to let go of, even though it's sinking your ship? Tell me your story in the comments. Let's talk about the hard truths. If this journey resonated with you, please like this video and share it with one person who feels like they've lost their way. And subscribe to the Midnight Compass to join our growing family of old souls. May your nights be peaceful and your compass true. Farewell.